It's another beautiful spring day, and it's day 29 of my Plein April series. So I am hanging out in my front yard today, and I have these two beautiful bush peonies, and they're pretty much almost overbloomed. So I figured I'd sit down, take a couple minutes, and paint them. So let's see how it turns out, shall we? I'm using my size 12 Sarah Byrne Studio and Craft-A-Mo brush today. And I'm not going to draw anything first. I'm just going to paint it. Because why not? Just going to use some of these greens, some water in them, get them going. Get this dark green going. I'm looking at my flowers, thinking about the negative shape around them. The negative shape is what space is behind something. And sometimes the concept of negative space is really confusing. So if it doesn't make sense to you, you are not alone. Just blocking in the dark areas. So that's one flower bed there, another one here, one right here, and then we're going to have more to the front. Some my lighter green too. Let's use all the green I have. Let's see, trying to not get lost too much in what I'm seeing. It's just a bunch of green over here. Add water, kind of make more like a watercolor effect, very light. I can go over it later with more opaque paint, as in like less water. Water it out. More water. Yeah, you can see like the pilly paper part. Not the best for watercolor methods with this sketchbook, but this is all about me learning how to paint with gouache this month. Alright, I'm going to get some more of the darks going. I want this area in the palette cleaned out a little bit for when I mix my pinks. Because these are pink flowers. take a paper towel and just clean out the rest of this. There we go. Clean out my brush. Time for pinks. I'm going to take my red. Get a lot of red. Clean out my brush. And get titanium white. There we go, nice and pink. Checking how damp my paper is or isn't. It's pretty, some zinc white too. It's pretty dry. It's quite warm. Not super warm. I'm hanging out in the shade of one of our big flowering bushes. It's called a camellia. I actually painted this bush earlier this month. I'll make sure to link that video here if you want to watch it. So I'm just kind of like blocking in some of the lighter color petals. Get some more zinc white. Titanium white. It just looks like a mess, but I think I'll be able to clean this up so it's easier to recognize shapes of flowers in a little bit. Change how I hold my brush so that I can get the line I want. There we go. These are like, I want to say they're Japanese style peony bush flowers, but I'm not quite sure. I actually got this bush and my other peonies that haven't started blooming yet from my husband's aunt. She wanted them removed, and I'm like, I'll take them. So that was a good number of years ago now, but they still bloom and they look beautiful. And if you're really looking, if you're in the Willamette Valley and you're really looking for beautiful peonies flowers, go to Brooks, Oregon. There's a place called Adelman's, and they have fields of peony flowers, and they're just beautiful. I'm thinking about doing a class there. So, if you're in the Willamette Valley and want to do peony flower class, make sure to check out my website, which is westernrosestudios.com, and then you can find a link to all my classes. But the peony place, it doesn't cost money to go. It's free to the public. It's beautiful there. So if you are into flowers, go check it out if you're in the Willamette Valley. I would say it's worth a drive, but make sure to check out their website before you go. But you can order bulbs that are shipped in the fall, or you can buy potted plants that some are already blooming. But it's really fun to go and see all the pretty flowers. If you're into flowers, that is. I don't paint flowers very often, honestly, but they are pretty. I like to have a fresh bouquet on the table when possible. Play around the ratio of a titanium white to my red, which is by M. Graham Pyrrole Red. And I added a little bit of zinc white in the mixture too. Why? because I can. Make this one more light in color, I think. This one. More titanium white. Add that. Kind of work the flowers I just painted. It's kind of like a wet onto wet. Hopefully it'll blend a little bit better. I love hearing the birds singing when they're happy. It's just so nice. Reminds me of when I used to work at summer camps. In the mornings, the birds would be all happy and singing. I definitely enjoy the sounds of nature than the sounds of the city. I'm gonna rinse my brush, dry it off the best I can, and let's work some of these lines. Kind of like dry brushing here and there. Okay, I kind of lost where this petal was on which flower. There we go. Found it. Just really laying my brush across the paper, pushing the damp color around. It will help me to see the colors better if I keep it all in the shade versus some hot spots from the sun. Okay, just grab some straight titanium white. A little bit of water with that. It's a little dry. It's kind of in the sun a little bit. Drying it out. I think the flowers on this side of the page, I'll make them more realistic. And these flowers over here, I think I'm going to have them a little more suggested. So if your eye goes to this little grouping of flowers as the focal point. Work on these over here so don't forget about them as much. I'm going to add red to this pile here. make it a little darker. The blue that's already in here. A more shadow. Alright, this bunch, let me look and remember where the leaves are. Not the leaves, the petals. Who knows, maybe I'll like these more suggested flowers more. It's the beauty of painting a little bit differently on a whole spread, maybe. Just play around what you do or don't like. Let that dry. In the meantime, work this dark color again. Over here. Build up some shadows that are happening. Sometimes I feel like I could paint this a whole bunch better in watercolors because I understand watercolor and I know how it reacts. But that's the point of this whole month, to use a medium I'm not used to, gouache, to really learn it so that I can get better. Because that's the best way to improve, is just to do it. Blending out some of the shadows. Gosh, these are hard in gouache. At least they're hard for me in gouache. I thought this would be easier. Famous last words. I thought it would be easier. Blobs of color. Maybe I am just not meant to paint flowers in gouache. That is a very real possibility. Maybe it's because I didn't draw it out first. Who knows? I was feeling confident. You know what? I'm just going to add some black and see how that will look. So I'm going to grab my ivory black, Payne's gray, some burnt sienna, get the excess paint off my brush by wiping it along the lip of the lid here. Still a little damp. But I'm just gonna go for it. So this is gonna be like some casual line work. See how if lines can help or not. And I'm just doing kind of imperfect lines. Don't have to outline every single thing. Trying to have a light touch with my hand, the brush, so that it's not super dark in some areas. It's okay if it is. Varying the weight of the stroke, so how thick or thin the brushwork is for the lines. I think I'm liking this a little better. Let's try that same method with these. If I can figure out the structure. Maybe I won't do it for everyone. That looks good. Work on this. These are kind of facing towards the front. These are kind of like side profile views of the flowers. Rinse my brush, because now I'm going to get yellow. Using my Azo yellow and putting it in the middle. Oops, Azo, not lemon. Azo is a little more vibrant for what I need, like a warmer yellow versus a cooler yellow. And now let's work on some leaves, I think. Might help define things a little bit more. Titanium white, Azo yellow, cobalt blue, and some of my Delft blue. And just painting more of the, let's do more some Delft to make darker. Painting the, oh, still not dark enough. Payne's gray. Okay, repeat. Painting the, there we go, the negative shape around some of the leaves that might be getting more sun than others. And then I'm gonna do the same kind of outline thing I was doing for the flowers. This is cool, I'm liking this. kind of carving out some leaf shapes. Rinse my brush and do some more the yellow just on the tip of my brush. I guess I need to let that dry. In the meantime, do some, let's see, what do I want to do? Do some more, this is all one bush. I want to do some suggestions of leaves with the same dark green I was using before, but kind of have it watered down a little bit so it's a little lighter. This is totally different than my normal style. If you've been watching along with these videos, you'll see this is like really different than what I normally paint. Still too wet, I think. Yeah. Got some of my titanium white and my azo yellow. Do some more yellow. Just working on a little bit more definitions in the middle of the flowers. I do not know flower anatomy, so if you know what this is called, leave a comment. The middle of a flower where the bees usually be. Ha! And then these kind of have like a little bit of a dark red undertone. I'm gonna do some of this. Rinse that. Add some Payne's Gray to this mixture. More red. Darken it up. Brown. Red. There we go. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If I actually showed the camera what I'm doing. Okay, so some of this dark red, like undertone. And then one last touch of titanium white, I think. Like little areas of highlight. Oh my gosh, my brush is not all the way clean. So the white does not look like pure white. There we go. It has like it had like a purple undertone. I wonder where that came from. Kind of doing some dry brush effect. Okay. Calling it done. I just realized something. I skipped a page in my sketchbook when I opened it up to paint. So instead of being on this page, which is directly after yesterday's painting, it's on the last spread. Oh my gosh. But I did like how it turned out in the end. So, thank you so much for coming along with me on my little adventure of Plein April for day 29. Tomorrow is the last day of Plein April, and this sketchbook will be finished, even if the last 2 pages need to be flipped around. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. Yeah. Anyways, I hope my little video has inspired you to get outside and paint, even if it is just a bush of flowers in your front yard, hiding inside your camellia tree bush thing. I don't know. I think it's big enough to be a tree. What do you think? Thank you again so much for coming along. I hope this has inspired you, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, I'm more in the camellia bush now because that sun is moving and it's hot, and I don't want to be standing in the sun. Are you focusing? Focus. Good camera. Oh, there's a bush right here. Hello, bush. Anyways. But, dogs. Thank you again. Thank you again. Alright, I'm just gonna say it with the dogs barking. Thank you again so much for coming along. I hope this has inspired you.